Hello fans and friends, welcome to another video. My name's Keir Smith. For today's video I'm going to show you 10 albums that I've bought over the last 3 to 6 months that I haven't got around to listening to yet. I'm always reading and researching albums and looking for new albums to buy, but admittedly I buy so many that it takes me a bit of time to actually get round to listening to them. And so I won't actually be able to tell you anything about these albums other than what inspired me to buy them. So do let me know in the comments section below if you own these albums or if you know these albums and what you think of them. So first up is this album by Tori Amos called Little Earthquakes. And I bought this album after watching Rick Beato's channel, and he was talking specifically about this album and a song called Silent All These Years. Tori Amos is an artist that has always interested me. I heard her name crop up several times when I was growing up in the 90s, and I understood that she was quite highly thought of, but I never got round to listening to her. But not long after watching Rick Beato's video, I was in town in Nottingham in a second-hand music store, and I saw this Tori Amos album, Little Earthquakes, for £2, so I picked it up. But as of yet, I haven't got round to listening to it. Up next is an album by Fleetwood Mac called Then Play On, and this is one of the pre-Buckingham Nicks era albums. This is one of the albums that Fleetwood Mac made with Peter Green, and I remember seeing an interview with Mick Fleetwood saying that this was his favourite Fleetwood Mac album, just ahead of Tusk, and naturally that inspired me to buy it and see what it's all about. Up next is an album by an artist I'd never even heard of until one day I was watching a YouTube video, as I do, and I was reading the comments section and someone suggested that Sufjan Stevens was the greatest songwriter that had ever lived. And this is his album, Sufjan Stevens Invites You to Come On Feel the Illinois. But on the spine, it says Illinois. So I'm not sure what the official title of the album is, but I'm certainly looking forward to hearing that and seeing what all the fuss is about. Up next is an album by a band that I've admired for many years. This is The Coral with their double album, Coral Island, and this was recommended to me by a good friend. My friend asked me if I'd heard the new Coral album, Coral Island. I said no. He said, you've got to hear it, it's really good, and it's a double album, Keir, so you'll like it. And my ears immediately pricked up when I heard double album, because I do like a double album. A lot of information, a lot to get stuck into. Up next is this album. This is Utopia by Fountains of Wayne, and I bought this after watching Sam St. John's YouTube channel, and he was counting down his 100 favourite albums, and Fountains of Wayne featured on that list a few times if I remember right. And Fountains of Wayne are another one of them bands where I heard their name crop up during the mid to late 90s. I understood them to be an American indie pop band, and I never really gave this band the time of day, and I still haven't, but I'll get to it soon. Up next is a classic album. This is Carole King, Tapestry, and I bought this in a charity shop. You could mix tape cassettes and CDs, 5 for £1. I know Carole King, I've heard a few of her hits over the years, and I do know that she was part of the Goff and King songwriting partnership. They wrote one of my favourite songs by The Byrds called Going Back. And I've read little bits about the album Tapestry, and I understand it to be an emotional roller coaster. Deep and thoughtful songwriting, so that'll be an interesting listen for sure. Up next is another classic album. This is Rainbow, Rising, and I was talking to a guy a year ago. I didn't know him, but somehow we got talking about music, and he said that this was one of his favourite albums, like a top 10 album, so that was good enough for me. I thought I better seek it out. He was amazed when I said I hadn't heard it, and this is another album I've heard about plenty through the years, but I've never got round to it. And through the years I've heard that this album is a rock classic, and Ritchie Blackmore is at the fore of everything, and he was in Deep Purple, so this should be a good listen. And I was on eBay browsing one day and I stumbled across this. This is Coldplay's last album, Music of the Spheres, from 2021, and it was £3. It's still shrink wrapped, brand new, and free postage, so I thought I'll have that. I really like Coldplay, and I've got all of their other albums and I enjoy all of them to varying degrees, but I don't necessarily rush out to buy the album on the day of its release, but I always pick them up over time. And I remember hearing the lead-off single for the album, Higher Power, a lot on the radio, and I really like that. They get a lot of stick, Coldplay, God knows why. They write great songs. Up next is an album by Prince with his backing group, Third Eye Girl, the only album to feature this backing group. And this album is called Plectrum Electrum. And this was released back in 2014, simultaneously with the album Artificial Age. I'd already bought Artificial Age back in 2014 when it was released. But I was in a second-hand music store and I saw Electrum Plectrum for £2, grabbed it straight away. Prince has always been prolific, but I think when he released them 2 albums, he released another 2, making it 4 albums in a 15-month period. But Prince rarely disappoints, save for 1 or 2 albums, so again, I'm looking forward to hearing that. And last but not least, this is Bob Marley and the Wailers, Uprising. And I bought this after hearing Mike talk about it on his YouTube channel, MGK Boston. And I think that he was talking about this album in relation to a list of 10 perfect albums. But I've only ever really known the hits that you hear on the radio by Bob Marley. But I did watch one of those classic album programmes on the album Exodus, and that sparked my interest a little bit more, and I did mean to pick that album up, but after seeing Mike's video, I went for this one. So there you go, 10 albums that I've bought recently but haven't got round to listening to yet. But I am looking forward to listening to them. They should certainly keep my ears busy over the next month or so. Do any of you out there know these albums? Do you like them? What are your favourite songs from these albums? Or have I wasted my money? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Please give the video the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel. There'll be lots more to come. Thanks as always for watching. See you next time.